Hello, wonderful women. It's Claudia here from Nourish by Claudia, founder of the Recover from HA Support Group and the Period Comeback Protocol. And here we are today to talk about how to support your body so that you can get pregnant. And it doesn't really matter if you're going through HA and you're in recovery, or you have already gotten your first or second or third period back. The tips that I'm going to share with you today, they're going to help you immensely. So please stay tuned until the end, because I'm pretty sure that you're going to get something out of this conversation today. But first of all, I would like to share part of my story. Almost 8 to 10 years ago, I went to a doctor, and I sat in the very cold, teeny tiny room, and I gave her my blood test results, my ultrasound results. I told her all the things that I was going through, all my behaviors around training, around food, the fact that I wasn't sleeping very well, that I was very anxious, that sometimes I couldn't even sit still and I couldn't stop fidgeting. And there she was sitting in front of me, and she looked at the scan and she told me, you have PCOS. So what you're doing is actually the right thing in terms of exercising and restricting the caloric intake, but you're wasting time, because you're not getting any younger. And if you want to have a baby, it's better if you get on top of it straight away and you start fertility treatment as soon as possible. And there I was. I had just opened my heart out. I told her all the things that I had been experiencing for such a long time, that they had been bottled inside of me, and I hadn't really spoken the truth to anyone before her. And once again, I was completely misdiagnosed and unheard. When I left the studio, the doctor practice, I knew that I had to take my health in my own hand. I still went along and I saw the fertility specialist, because I wanted to get a second opinion. And once again, they look at the ultrasound, they look at the blood test results, and they said, you have amenorrhea, you have plenty of follicles in your ovaries, you have PCOS, so we need to start you on metformin, Clomid, and they gave me all these options in terms of drugs that could help me to ovulate and to bleed, so that I could ultimately have a baby. But no one was really listening to the fact that, baby or not baby, my body was screaming for help, but also my brain was screaming for help, because I was done restricting calories. I was done exercising at 5 a.m. in the morning. And the one thing that I really needed to do was someone like a professional person with experience to tell me, hey, Claudia, it is okay to slow down. It is okay to rest. And if you manage to do so, you will see that your body is gonna adjust, is going to heal, and you're going to be able to have a period naturally, and you're going to be able to get pregnant naturally. Unfortunately, I didn't have that experience, which is why I'm here today, and which is why I dedicated the past 10 years of my life of supporting my body, of healing my body naturally. And also my mission is to support women that have been feeling in the same way, to finally get heard and to finally receive the support that they deserve and need. So if you're listening to me today, take it as a sign. And there is always a reason why we stumble upon a podcast or upon a blog or upon a Facebook group. And feel free to start a conversation with me. Feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to book in a free discovery call, so we can really get clarity on what your body is telling you, and we can translate it, and then we can follow some proven steps that can actually help you to get your period back and to get and to expand your family, if that's your ultimate desire. But so today, as I promised before, I really would like to focus on 5 tips that have helped me incredibly to get pregnant with my first and with my second child. There are many more tips that I would like to share, and I'm gonna do so in the Recover from HA support group. I'm planning to do a live on the Recover from HA support group, where I'm gonna expand on the tips that I'm just gonna touch upon today. So you can still get started, but then if you obviously wanna get the full benefits of this conversation, make sure that you join the group, make sure that you join me live. And Joining me live is also your opportunity to actually ask me questions and get answers from someone that, yes, has been there, but also from someone that is a professional and has helped thousands of women to recover the period and get pregnant. So let's get started with tip number one. Tip number one, I started treating my body as if I was pregnant already. What do I mean by that? When you get pregnant, you need multiple snacks, multiple meals throughout the day. So instead of fasting in the morning or restricting my caloric intake or saving the calories until nighttime or having a small breakfast and a small lunch and a bigger dinner, I just allow myself to have plenty of snacks, plenty of food throughout the day, because ultimately I knew that what my body needed the most was to feel safe and to feel nourished. And right at that point in time, my body was perceiving what I was going through as a threat, and I needed to reassure my body that there was no threat. Nothing was chasing us. There was no war. There was no famine, and food was available. Food was abundant, and I was also allowed to rest and slow down, because back then I was working in a very, very busy practice. I was also going to university for the third time in my life. Yes, like I love studying, I love learning, clearly. But it was a very busy time. And on top of it, I was always, I was keeping up with a very hectic social life. I was traveling like mad. In 2016, I traveled to Oman, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, French, Italy, Hawaii, and all around Australia, New Zealand, just in less than 11 months. So I was really pushing my body to the limit. On top of it, I was trying to stay engaged with my group of friends. I would go for a run every day. I had a running group. So there was a lot. And all of these are things that women don't tend to do when they're pregnant, because once you get pregnant, it's like that you're allowing yourself to rest and slow down because you're finally taking care of someone else. So if you would like to get pregnant, and if you are going through hypothalamic amenorrhea, or if you have already gotten your period back, step number one is to definitely slow down, allow your body to rest, allow your body to get plenty of snacks. No cardio, no jumping. You wouldn't spend that much time jumping and running with a pregnant belly. So don't do it now, because it's something that it's not sustainable in the long term, because that's something that you will possibly stop during pregnancy and in the postpartum phase to support the healing of your body and to support the health of your child. So my advice for you is to start slowing down straight away. Step number two is definitely to cut down on caffeine. And I'm not only talking about the coffee as we know it. I used to drink plenty of coffee. My background is Italian, so you can imagine how many coffees I used to drink when I was back at university. We're talking about 6-7 espressos every day. And I had to dramatically cut down on caffeine, and I did it very slowly, just to avoid the withdrawal symptoms and the headaches and the gut pain and the constipations that normally happens when you start slowing down, decreasing your caffeine intake. But as I said before, it wasn't only the coffee as we know it. It's also medications that contain caffeine. It's also the energy drinks that contains caffeine and taurine. What else did I do? Teas, English breakfast. Normally an English breakfast, it contains approximately 50 milligrams of caffeine, which is pretty low. So just make sure that you keep your caffeine intake below 200 milligrams per day. But ideally, if you are living in a stressful state, and if you are a very busy woman and you're quite fidgety and you can't really sit still, I highly encourage you to dramatically decrease that caffeine intake in a 3 weeks period, so that you go from 200, 300, 400 milligrams of coffee per day to somewhere between 50 to 70 max, which basically equals to 1 espresso, 1 Nespresso, a couple of English breakfast tea. Don't leave the tea bag in the tea for too long. Just approximately 1 minute and a half is more than enough. Don't leave it for 5 minutes, and that's it. Then after that, you can switch on to decaf beverages that are delicious. delicious as well. Step number 3 was to put my legs up the wall. And why do I think that it's important to put the legs up the wall? For 2 different reasons. First of all, when you have the legs up the wall, you cannot do anything else. You cannot go anywhere. You can just focus on the breathing, and you can just be there in the present moment. And it's a very beautiful way to bring the blood, to bring the energy back to your organs, to your main organs. It's a beautiful way to warm up the upper part of your body. Secondly, it's basically putting your legs up the wall, give this message to your brain that there is no reasons to stress, because you're not trying to run away. You're not trying to run away from a tiger. You're not chased by anything. You're more than welcome to simply sit down and be with yourself. If you manage to put your legs up the wall every day for like 5 minutes, you will notice a change within a very short amount of time. And even better, when you put your legs up the wall, and it can be somewhere between 2 to 10 minutes, you can also plug in like a nice music, relaxing music, on some meditations that you can listen in the background, so you can really support your subconscious mind in terms of restoring your hormones and also healing your nervous system. Something else that I had to do is also prepping my mind for triggers. So this is definitely step number 1, and it's going to be absolutely fundamental for you if you have been wanting to have a baby for a long period of time, and you have been suffering from hypothalamic amenorrhea and hormonal imbalances, or if you have been trying to have a baby for a long time and it has not happened yet. It is paramount to prepare your mind and your body for triggers, because you're gonna get triggered. Once we start thinking about having a baby, once we start thinking about getting our period back, all of a sudden we are bombarded with informations that are normally around getting pregnant and being pregnant. And that's normally when we start noticing all our friends getting pregnant. This is simply because our brain is focusing on what is important to us. So women have always been getting pregnant, but when you were 15 and 16 and that was the last thing that you wanted, you didn't even pick up on women getting pregnant around you. But now, because your brain is so fired up when it comes to noticing pregnancy, then you will be bombarded with those information. So avoiding triggers, it's practically impossible in this DNA. So it's very important for you to support your brain and your body to be prepared for these triggers. And there are plenty of things that you can do just to be able to not be affected by those triggers. And that's a completely different type of conversations to have. And this video is not going to be long enough to cover all of them. But if you're curious and if you think that that's something that you actually need right now in this moment of your life, please, once again, feel free to reach out, send me a message, book in a free discovery call with me, so we can talk about the steps that you can actually implement to decrease those triggers. I had so many women coming to me after many different failed attempts with IVF or different miscarriages. They really wanted to find a safe space where to talk about what they were going through. So please feel free to reach out if that's where you are and if you feel that you need the support that you deserve. Something else that I had to do, and I highly encourage you to take this next step, is to find professional guidance. And you can reach out to someone like me or to someone else's. It doesn't really matter. But doing this on your own, it can be quite tricky. And I know that possibly by now you're already in contact with an endocrinologist, with a fertility specialist, and with a gynecologist or an obstetrician. But the reality is very important also to have someone with a more holistic approach on your side. How my work is different from the endocrinologist and the other practitioners? Well, I will say that it's different in 3 different ways. First of all, I hear you. I'll listen to your concern. And if you want to cry for more than 15 minutes, you're more than welcome to do so. And really releasing those negative emotions and find these steps in terms of moving forward can be very helpful and change your journey completely. Secondly, I can translate what the other professionals are doing, and I can help you to put together a plan in terms of what to do when something fails. And step number 3, I allow you to be part of a community of people, of women that are going through a very similar experience, so that you're not going to feel like the unicorn, and you're not going to feel that this is not happening for you and this is not happening to you. And also something that you can definitely work on with me, apart from the nutritional side and the supplements and reading and blood work, is also the mindset work. We go back to what we discussed before. It's also finding steps to avoid triggers, and also finding ways to talk to your body so that you don't spiral into a negative rabbit hole, if it makes sense. So these are my main 5 tips. There are a few more that I would like to share with you, but I'm gonna keep them for the live. So if this is a topic that is very close to your heart, if you want to know more about it, if you want to learn more about it, just please feel free to join my private Facebook group, Recover from Hypothalamic Amenorrhea Support, and I'm gonna pop the link in the comment section. And then if you would like to get some help, if you are completely done just waiting it out or just going from one medical professional to another, and you would like to find a link between all these professionals, make sure that you book a free call with me. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. Thanks so much. Bye for now.